didn't get through the Searhand part, but I listened to it again today.
Right.
So, you know.
Tell us all about it, man.
We rolling?
Yeah. Just tell us where to start, man, with the whole JFK assassination theory.
Well,
fucking book full of notes.
For this, we are actually going to have to go back all the way to World War II. Let's see. So, back in World War II, the need for intelligence in the military was realized.
Okay.
We hadn't really had an intelligence service. So in World War II, or right after World War II...
So, like, even in World War One, because, like, World War II is Nazis, right?
Right.
So World War One, we didn't really have, like, a CIA or an NSA or anything?
No. So the first form was the Office of Strategic Services. Or, yeah, I believe so.
Office of Strategic Services, yeah. We'll look this shit up right now. Okay. You guys can see that. Office of Strategic... The OSS.
And it was formed during World War II, I believe I saw.
An intelligence
formed
agent.
in 1942.
Okay.
So it was the first real, strategic intelligence service used to do everything from intercept messages to decoding things to planning spy missions and subversion. It did, all the classic things when you think of the intel
like the Navajo code talkers.
Right.
They come from that. Okay.
And there are a few key players that came out of this. One of them is Richard Helms. Richard Helms, he when he joined the OSS,
ex-CIA director.
Right. So he started in the OSS and stayed in the intel community all the way until he was the director of the CIA.
He started from the way beginning,
from World War II, all the way until the 70s or early 80s.
Yeah.
So you can imagine the amount of time and the amount of things and the amount of
the shit that he's seen,
planning. Exactly. Everything.
The funding of the CIA.
That's multiple decades, entire generations that lived through the things that he did in the intelligence community.
Yeah.
And it kind of. One of the other people we're going to talk about, James Angleton, he kind of said it best. If you control the intel, you control the world.
Yeah, propaganda,
Right.
If you control what people think.
You control what people fear.
Yeah.
You control what people do.
Because you really don't know what's going on except for through media and
exactly
news.
What they tell you.
So media, they stir up the pot, and then they fucking create a false sense narrative of fear, and then it fucking easy to fucking pick out and
because we don't really know what's going on. We only listen to what the media's telling us. So as long as the media controls the ideas feeding into us, they can always control the masses. Amen.
It's like the reign of terror in fucking France, bro. That's literally where it came from.
Right. So Richard Helms was born 1913. He died in 2002. He was the director of Central Intelligence from 1966 until 1973. And he was also the deputy director of Central Intelligence, or the deputy chief, whatever the title
just
is.
right below.
Right.
Yeah.
And that is really where he did most of his... covert isn't even the right word, because pretty much everything he did was covert.
Right.
But all of his secretive... Probably most of his illegal stuff was done during his time as deputy director. Yeah. And that is because the director at the time, which there were two ahead of him, there was, forgetting the first one, but Macron was a big part, and let's see, actually.
So the two directors of the Central Intelligence Agency before him.
The two before him, they pretty much had a policy of they trusted Richard Helms. They knew he knew what he was doing. They knew he could handle himself. And they also wanted him to be able to complete and create and plan missions that the public would definitely not look positively on.
Okay,
but these people, the directors also knew that sometimes those things are needed in intelligence.
The necessary evil.
Exactly. And so they kind of had a policy of, well, the public doesn't want to know about it. I don't want to know about it, because if I have to answer, then I'd rather not. So let's keep me in limbo so that I can play ignorant. I'm going to give you the freedom and the funding to do what you do and not ask a single question, which would come back to bite multiple people in the ass.
Bring down the whole government. Not the whole, but tie them down.
Right. In fact, multiple future directors would look back on the era and say that so many people involved were the shadiest people ever, and that the things that they did were despicable, and the evidence they destroyed
That's
to
how it
cover
works
it up.
in intelligence.
Exactly.
Back then, like, the government was doing shit right under our noses, bro. I mean, and it's like, it's like the black lie versus white lie. It's like, well, if we tell a white lie, is it better for the public not to know or to know? Because they're doing all this shit behind our back, and I mean, they are helping America, but also, what are they doing that's, this evil shit, bro?
Right, like, you can't expose all the truths of America, or you, like, give out what, like, we know to the other countries, you feel me?
Yeah.
But, like, at the same time, you can't keep America in the dark. It's fucked up.
So
yeah, like, if we knew the true history of the world, if we knew everything, bro, the true history of the world, people would lose their fucking minds.
Exactly, bro. People wouldn't know what to do.
Well, we had, like, a whole blank century, fucking, like, after the flood, and then with the fucking, the Great Plague, bro, fucking wiping out, like, medieval times, wiping out countless people.
So, he was the Deputy Director of Central Intelligence from April of 65 to June of 66, where he was promoted to the Director of the CIA. And he was Deputy Director of Plans from 62 to 65. So he was in a lot of, high-ranking offices in the CIA, in the OSS. He rose through the ranks from the beginning.
Yeah.
And that in itself proves that, he was dedicated, he was smart, an intelligent guy that knew what he was doing, knew the intel community, had the innovation and the...
He had a plan. He had a
passion for making shit work. So, as he rose through the ranks, or actually, go back to OSS days, he met James Angleton in the OSS. And
who is James Angleton?
James Angleton is another key part in this story. He was the... Yeah, like how they just call him a
James
spy.
Jesus Angleton.
Right.
Oh.
The chief of counterintelligence for the CIA.
Okay.
From 1954 to 1974.
Wow, 20 years.
20 years. Right? And so him and Helms, they had about a 25-year partnership where they worked together in the CIA to effectively shape the world. That entire era of, world politics, almost everything was manipulated.
Well, yeah, because like when World War II went down, it gave them so much access to change the world. All the propaganda going around, they realized what they can really do to humans, because they're like, this is how far we can push the boundaries,
Right.
This is World War II, where we're at right now.
Yeah, we're at World War II. We're like...
And that's, like, after World War II, we brought in all the Nazis, you feel me?
Exactly.
Yeah. Project fucking Paperclip. These guys were part of that.
Exactly. Well, and the Nazis were the founding scientists of NASA.
Right.
Do you know that, bro?
Yeah.
Well, it's crazy when you look at the founding scientist of NASA on his fucking tombstone.
Right.
He admitted that there's a creator. He admitted that God is real. To all those fucking atheist nihilist people out there.
Right.
Not to be a dick.
Which interesting thing that the Nazi founder of NASA would say that there is a God. Interesting thing.
Well, it's kind of interesting the fact that
all the Nazis were into occult shit, bro.
Well, nowadays we look back and we say, oh yeah, the Americans brought Nazis over. They're all scientists. Nobody really cares. But back in the day, the government went through extreme lengths to hide that information. Destroyed files, destroyed all these kind of documents that tracked all that kind of stuff. Because
keep in mind, destroying files, bro. Hiding the information from the public.
Hiding evidence, exactly. Yeah. And they went through this length because at the time, that is, it's not just scientists, it's Nazis in the American government. And that would have, just destroyed the public opinion at the time.
Yeah. Like, you got Nazis working for us?
Right. Like, what are you thinking? And public opinion is
it's not just for us. They got split up and some went to Russia, though, too.
That too.
Yeah.
And so the CIA, that actually plays a big part into the CIA's thinking. So throughout the 60s, 70s, 80s, the CIA maintained a opinion, or maybe a worldview of stark anti-communism. Yeah. Very Cold War mentality.
The Iron Curtain.
Exactly. Yeah. They were full-blown, even after the Cold War. They were full-blown in it, trying to fight every possible thing, saying, if we don't do it, they will. So they were going everywhere with this. And that is actually the main, or one of the excuses used to get into MKUltra, which involved drugging and hypnosis and
super
experiments.
Soldiers.
Right, they did all kinds of experiments.
In the Nazis, like Heinrich Himmler, the Angel of Death, he sewed two twins together to see if they would come alive. He would I don't want to get into the details because I can't say for sure, but there are so many stories of the horrific shit they did. Like, I remember reading the book Night by Elie Wiesel, and it's a book written by a Holocaust survivor, and he said that when he went into the camps, they would grab the Jewish babies by the ankles, they would toss them up into the air and use them for target practice for their guns, bro.
Fucking terrible.
And he said when they got there, they're like, "What's the smell? What is this? What is this smell?" And then they realized it's the smell of burning flesh, humans, bro. Holy fuck.
Yeah, and really the crazy thing is that a lot of the previous research that they built their hypotheses on and they built their experiments on came from the Nazis. They found documents detailing these experiments they did, drugging and torturing people, mostly Jews. They had plenty of time to do it. So they found these documents and they're like, we'll build on that. The other place that they got their research from was North Korea during the Korean War. They
was that the first Kim Jong-il? Or
I can't remember who was at the time, but North Korea had developed brainwashing techniques to recover information from prisoners that they had gotten in the war.
Right.
So, they'd take somebody, they'd capture somebody, and they'd essentially torture them until to get them to reveal information.
Right.
So
it's like, how do we know if it's
war
real?
Crimes.
That eventually gave the CIA the excuse isn't the right word, but for lack of a word, it gave them an excuse to make Project Bluebird.
For them, it was the excuse.
Right. Yeah. And the main objective of Bluebird, and a lot of these later ones,
I've never heard of Project Bluebird. What is that?
Well, the main objective was officially to prevent or to help soldiers protect the information they have and not divulge it in the case of torture or brainwashing.
Psychological training.
Exactly.
Mental training.
Psychological training is exactly
how to lock secrets in your brain.
That is exactly it. They were trying to use hypnosis,
yeah.
trying to use shock, so that if you were brainwashed, you wouldn't divulge that information.
Yeah.
Or if you were tortured, you wouldn't know that information.
So we wouldn't have another John McCain incident.
Literally sleeper agents, dog.
And so that was the reason that they started this. And going back to the Nazi documents they found, Much of them involved, on the subject, much of them involved mescaline and hypnosis. So they built off that.
They would use peyote.
Right. They expanded and they said, okay, the Nazis used mescaline and hypnosis.
Oh, I thought you were saying the Americans.
Exactly. No,
holy shit.
The Nazis used peyote?
Yes.
Well, you think about it, all the Nazis were all fucking doped up during the war. Yeah. They were giving their fucking soldiers meth.
Yeah, they were on
you look at fucking Hitler, he was doped up in Oxycontin and what it was.
He's like oxys and coke and meth, bro. Yeah, some crazy shit.
And it was like, what do they call it? The mixture, some shit.
I don't know, but I know what you're talking about.
Exactly. They'd fucking dope him up, and he wouldn't stop talking. Especially that's why Mussolini didn't back out of the war with him, because he legit just rambled the entire fucking time.
Right. But so the Nazis were using peyote, mescaline.
The Nazis were doing those experiments, and then
Holy makes fuck,
the
bro.
Americans.
I didn't know that, bro. Right. Holy fuck.
The Americans found these documents, and they said, okay, how can we build on that? So they replicated the experiments, got their baseline test results, and then they branched out and they said, okay, hypnosis, mescaline. They started testing things like LSD. There's another big
mushrooms
one. I don't know if mushrooms was
MDMA, DMT.
I believe things.
But like they just started getting
ecstasy. Is
but they just started getting into drugs of that nature.
They tried doing like fucking like astral projecting and trying to have people find other people.
Right.
Yeah. Remote viewing.
Kind of like if you've seen the movie The Men Who Stare at Ghosts, that's like a funny take on it, but like similar.
So, this started with Project Bluebird. And at the time, they started just with electroshock and combinations of electroshock and drugs to try to achieve amnesia, to just wipe memories.
They're putting you on drugs, shocking you.
Right. And it's kind of a crazy thing because...
holy fuck, dude. I mean,
right.
Think about that, bro.
Right. And, well, because they went through...
For real.
They went through so many different kinds of these experiments, from the baseline of just wiping somebody's mind till they're a vegetable, so they don't remember anything.
Complete amnesia.
Right. They figured that they were able to do that pretty easily, That was one of the first things they were able to do. And they said, okay, how do we go from complete amnesia to momentary amnesia,
semi-amnesia,
or
activatable,
or topic-specific amnesia.
Activatable, like when you say a code word and then the sleep rate, they're like, oh, all of a sudden I remember this.
Or something that they figured out how to do quite well later on, having amnesia while in a trance state. As in, you are put under hypnosis into a trance state, made to do an action or say something or do whatever. And then after the trance state, you have no idea what you did. You have no memory.
Yeah, complete hypnosis.
Complete, well, even further than hypnosis, complete amnesia of...
Well, yeah, because you forgot that you even did it.
Right, forgot that you did it, forgot that anyone hypnotized you in the first place.
Yeah.
That was the main thing. They wanted to make sure that they could erase the memory of being hypnotized, being told what to do, and doing the action.
We're going to make you go do this, and you're not going to have any clue that you did it.
Right.
Okay.
So, that was one of the more secret goals. So, when it started, Helms started this through the funding he got from those directors, with, that turned a blind eye. And when they started, he had behavior scientists across the U.S. and Canada investigate concepts including amnesia, bioelectrics, parapsychology, and mind-altering drugs and hypnosis.
Parapsychology and bioelectrics.
Right.
Okay.
Very interesting. Helms then exaggerated Soviet mind control programs to gain more funding. Which he got very easily. Right. Which is kind of a theme that you'll see throughout this, is that the CIA is very easily able to go through government officials and simply tell them that the Soviets are doing this, or the Soviets are doing that, or this connects to the Soviets, so they'll do this.
They just take it at face value. Okay, you tell us this, and all right, we got you. We'll fund you.
And they imply that something bad could happen if we don't do this, or if we do this, then they'll retaliate.
They're just hanging on the CIA's every fucking word, basically.
And, it's... Because a lot of people will, insinuate that government politicians are complicit or involved. I don't think they're involved at all. I think that they're easily manipulated by the people they trust. And they trust the intel community, especially at this time.
They're more like puppets,
Right, there's no reason not to trust the intel community at this time, There is no previous bad behavior.
When at this time, especially.
Exactly, there's nothing came out at
They're
this
like,
time.
I feel you.
So it started in 1950 as Project Bluebird, and it, was what we said. And then in 1952, it was renamed to Project Artichoke.
Project Artichoke.
Which a lot of these names are random, but the guess here is that artichoke is a vegetable, and
with many layers.
Well, the idea was to turn people into vegetables. So.
Oh shit! Oh wow! God. Okay, yeah.
So thousands of subjects, between prisoners, foreigners, prostitutes, mental patients, college students.
Yeah.
Pretty much anyone they could get their hands on. Really.
Yeah.
Anyone that could.
This happened all over the U.S. and everything.
Right.
To all statistics.
You can find people who actually went through it and find their videos and their.
Went from the places like U.S. colleges and campuses all the way to mental hospitals in Canada.
Yeah.
Montreal was actually one of their favorites to do, because it was outside the U.S., couldn't be linked back to them. They'd pay the doctors to do their research, and the doctors didn't ask where the money was coming from.
Yeah,
it's
corrupt as fuck.
It's not like they knew it was the CIA paying them. They just said, "Oh, money for this funding, I'll do it."
Yeah.
So they tested hypnosis interrogations. So they wanted to see, what kind of information you could get.
And they're doing this to helpless people, bro.
Exactly.
Mental patients, people that
exactly.
Fuck,
schizophrenics were a common thing that they would.
Because they're already into that. Their mind's already fucked up.
And the major objective of Artichoke was temporary control over subject without their knowing, and amnesia after the fact.
Bro, it's like American Ultra. You seen that movie?
Yes, exactly.
Jesse Eisenberg and shit? Bro, you seen American Ultra?
Not yet. No.
You gotta check that shit out.
That kind of brings up an interesting thing, though, because there's these notions of, like you said, sleeper agents or Manchurian candidates, if you've heard of that.
Okay, no, I have not.
That.
Yeah,
so
what is Manchurian?
A Manchurian candidate is from a book, I believe, written after the Korean War, about a American Marine who is captured in the Korean War, brainwashed to be essentially a sleeper agent, go back to the U.S. and murder the president.
Okay.
And, have no recollection of it, and be perfectly trained assassin and all that.
And they trust, you're like, yo, you're from the American Army, you're
exactly.
a prisoner of war, we'll bring you in and trust you.
Thank you for, surviving your prisonership.
Yeah.
And then on the code word of, oh, thank you, whatever.
Beta
you'll kill
212.
it.
Yeah.
So basically the fucking plot of Black Ops 1. What do the numbers mean?
Right. So those ideas kind of are so out there for so many people that they instantly dismiss the idea. And the truth is that a true Manchurian candidate or a sleeper agent is not possible. The CIA thoroughly explored that, and they declared in writing that it is not possible to create a true, reliable sleeper agent.
Right.
And that was the key word.
Reliable.
They wanted to make sure that you could do the task perfectly and not remember.
They wanted a command dog. They wanted to make a person a robot. Like you do, but anything I tell you, bro.
So, common drug used nowadays, it's known as GHB, or date rape drugs, or Hypnol. Those were commonly used. The predecessor to that, those led to the drugs used today, but the predecessors and the experiments commonly used those, and were later used on some of the subjects we're going to talk about. In 1951, they started testing LSD very highly around the U.S., and was the major cause for the acid boom.
Testing LSD as in
testing people's reactions, testing people's control, testing people's...
like the government was testing it on
right,
people?
right. It was the CIA.
The effects of it.
Largely, it was around this time that they started reaching into colleges, because they realized it wasn't just possibly used for prisoner types, but possibly for more intellectuals to open and just extract information.
Yeah.
You know, because if you could get, say, like a Soviet scientist, give him some LSD, and he just starts spouting off all
like
Soviet...
they're trying to do the truth serum. They're like, if we give you this, you'll tell us all your secrets.
Exactly.
Okay, yeah.
And so it was used in college campuses and bars unwittingly. And a Dr. Wolf...
They would just dose up people in bars?
Yes.
And just monitor them and see what
We're going to come back to that, because that bit them in the ass.
Yeah, you need to
hard.
Yeah, you need to tell about that. Holy shit.
So there is a Dr. Wolf, who is known as an expert in brainwashing. He founded the Human Ecology Society, which was a front for behavioral research done by the CIA. They began to search for heart attack drugs, drugs or chemicals that could cause a heart attack that would be undetectable.
Yeah, ricin.
Exactly. Those kind of things. That's when they started seeking it. And in 1953, I forget what director it was. It was either Macron or his predecessor. But in 1953, the current director exempted MK...
Director of the CIA.
Right.
Okay.
He exempted the program from normal CIA financial controls or financial audits. So it was essentially off the books.
Okay. The black money.
Exactly.
The hidden money.
And in 53, they expanded Artichoke.
Artichoke being the mental
the
training.
Program, right.
Yeah.
And they expanded it to few goals: to induce rapid hypnosis unwittingly, create durable amnesia, and implant operationally useful post-hypnotic suggestions.
Okay. You gotta explain that to the people.
So, these are pretty much your actions, right? And, so some people, when they hear this they might think assassination, which it does apply. If you were to hypnotize somebody, right, it could be anything. But a major thing that comes up later is something as simple as writing.
Okay.
So, few of these subjects, they were found to have diaries. And these diaries...
Subjects of the MKUltra.
Right.
Okay.
And the few people we're going to talk about later, they had diaries that were written very repetitively, very rantily, very...
Write the same words over and over and over.
Right. They'd kind of be very repetitive, kind of...
like if you've seen schizophrenic art.
Kind of.
Okay.
And so what it's referred to by, the experts in this field is automatic writing. When you are hypnotized, and typically it's either somebody talking to you and just, telling you what to write, or it's an audio tape. Very frequently, it was audio tapes that they would just give the person. They'd be wherever they are. They'd play the tape, and they're just sitting down writing for hours at a time, just writing whatever the tape says.
Exactly what it says.
Exactly what it says. And, because of that, it's very likely that, they're drugged during this time. They're kind of not fully aware, but they know what they're supposed to do.
To even be doing that, you have to be in some sort of mechanical, computerized state to be just...
What I find interesting is that a lot of times in these diaries, it's repetitive in the sense that it's almost like it's... like if you've heard a record skip and it keeps going back. It's like they're trying to write down the sentence, but they can't write it down before it moves on.
Because they don't remember, like it locks out in their brain.
So they're writing it down, and then they go to move on to the next thing it says, but they're still trying to write what was just said, and they can't finish writing it before the next thing is said, so they kind of mess up, and then it gets back, and they go back on track.
Rewind.
Right.
Okay.
And a lot of the experts that have examined these diaries, they say that they are in the person's handwriting, but they were all done in 1 or 2 sessions. So these diaries will cover years of these people's lives, and they're done in like a weekend.
Like the Gigas Codex, where they're just
how
did you possibly write this shit? So,
for example, Lee Harvey Oswald, he had a diary that was found that covered the years of his life in Russia. It was written after he came back to the United States, and it was found by experts, writing analysis experts, to have been written in 1 or 2 single sessions. Years of his life.
He was doing the automatic writing.
He was doing the automatic writing.
Okay.
From a tape, because lots of the stuff doesn't sound like the way he writes or talks.
Right.
It sounds like he's being fed some kind of programmed...
this is the story you will tell.
This is your philosophy. This is your ideology. This is what happened. And, it just doesn't sound like it's coming from his own words.
Right.
So they figured out how to do things like that. And Angleton was very key in the field part. So Helms was kind of, the top guy, making the plans, getting the funding, setting it all up. Angleton was the field guy who was down on the ground, figuring out how to
working with these people, doing it.
Yeah. And his field experiments found very successful techniques for rapid hypnosis and amnesia.
How so?
Don't have that far.
Okay.
Much of the information has been
right. Redacted.
Not even that.
Okay.
Most of the information that was declassified on MKUltra is redacted. What was not released was hundreds of thousands of documents that were destroyed before Richard Helms and James Angleton left the CIA.
Destroyed.
In the year. Literally, from the people working there. They said that in the months before he left, there were hundreds of thousands, months long, destruction of papers and everything. They just destroyed
the records of everything that happened,
every single thing during
Library of Alexandria shit. Burn all the history, burn all the records.
That's what I often try to remind people. Is this crazy shit that we hear about, drugging people, random people.
It's just surface level
exactly.
shit.
We don't even have
only
half
what we
the
know.
Yeah. That's just the tip of the iceberg.
We don't even have half the information,
That's the stuff that they didn't destroy.
Yeah.
So if they think that's not bad enough to destroy,
imagine what we don't know.
Imagine what they did destroy. That was even worse. That's what I'm saying.
Bro, Library of Alexandria shit. Holy fuck.
So in 1954, MKUltra was officially created. And it essentially just, what's the word I'm looking for? It adopted Artichoke into it, so everyone that was in it essentially just kind of joined MKUltra. And the intent of the MK program was to create unwitting assassins, and it could be specifically useful against a prominent politician or, if necessary, an American official. Very interesting in the creation of an assassin program.
Yeah.
And at this point, they had pretty much gotten their technique down, and they had gotten to a point where they realized they could get total control of a person.
Yeah.
But that meant a person in a vegetable state. They really just did what you told them to and couldn't really be a person.
Not like intelligently. They're just more like,
they're kind of like a robot. They're doing what you tell them.
But not like, it's like robot versus AI. Like, they're an automaton. They'll listen to what you tell them, but they can't intelligently, consciously think.
And they figured out that they could achieve a limited control where the person was still more, autonomous and able to do normal human things. But in that state, they became somewhat unpredictable. They couldn't control them, essentially. They
in what state?
In a limited, kind of not fully vegetable, super drugged and hypnoid state, but in a, for lack of a better word, lighter drugging and hypnosis state.
Not full vegetable, but still unpredictable.
Exactly.
Okay.
And at this point, they, like I said, they had realized that a Manchurian candidate was unachievable. They was too unpredictable. Basically, what they said was that if you could get somebody to be an assassin and be there ready to assassinate, that in the state that they were in, to not remember it and all the necessary things, that it wasn't 100% sure that they would be able to perform the assassination. They would either have bad aim or they, do whatever.
Yeah.
But they could get them to be there with a gun in place. So what they realized was that they could have a fall guy, who is this hypnotized drug
they don't
man
actually have
who has a gun
have to do it, but they can be the story
exactly.
of it.
Frame
They're
the
there in full view, and meanwhile on the sidelines there are sharpshooters who are the actual assassins.
Yeah.
So they take them out, and then the fall guy goes down. Likely he's killed so that his story never gets out, and then the actual assassins are also killed. But nobody hears about them because nobody knows them.
Yeah.
Even the people who kill them don't know that they are the actual assassins.
Right.
They're just some guy
You're
that
just
they're
told
killing.
to kill them, yeah.
Exactly.
Cut off all loose ends.
Exactly. And the term is a hypno-programmed fall guy.
Scapegoat.
And they figured out that they could create a fall guy that had no memory of the process to create him or the events or any of that.
Yeah.
They figured out they could do that in 1 to 3 months.
And they're really doing this to people.
Right.
This isn't.
They are
experimenting.
Right.
This sounds like some crazy sci-fi shit.
Right.
They're really fucking zombifying and vegetating people.
It's like what happened in Vegas, bro. Literally.
Yeah. It's like they're literally vegetating people and turning them into fucking like zombie robots. This is real, dude.
Right. Something that I found very interesting too. And I think this is still applied today, possibly in the Intel community. Oh, shit.
You good? We got a live call. 1 second, guys. She's getting deep, bro.
I'm saying.
Yo. Ben. Let me outside real quick.
Who's that?
Love.
Oh, okay, bet.
Yeah, the CIA shit gets deep, and now they're not even able to fucking operate on U.S. soil. Like, you see CIA, they fucking go and drop off guns in fucking certain neighborhoods, and they create fucking all this shit in America.
Yeah.
It's fucked up, dude.
Yeah, Laymana called me. Let me call his ass back. Just a pause moment, guys. We all taking calls. Time out. We'll be back soon. Close the door. This boy did not answer. Well, we were going to have the homie on the podcast. He might not be down. I don't know. We'll see. The homies are going outside right now. Going to get a little thing. Don't worry about it. No, what you want? Yo, my bad. We were so deep in conversation, we didn't even see you calling, bro. But if you still want to come through. Oh, bet. Oh, shit. I'll be right there. Bet. We'll be right there, bro. Alright, we'll be back, guys. sir. Say that, buddy.
Yo, should I grab one of these chairs over here?
Yeah. Just go.
This shit recording right now?
Yeah.
Hey. Nice shit.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, we've been like an hour deep into
Yeah,
this
bro,
shit.
we're literally in the middle of a fucking recording, bro.
Fuck.
Oh, shit. Oh, fuck.
Here, just set that one right here. I'll take this chair.
Here,
Damn.
Just right here.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, sir. Just sit right here on the big chair, bro. Alright, sorry, guys. Just got all the homies just came in at once. You got the door.
What's up, bro?
All
Nice
right.
to meet you.
And this is Gage. He was just putting us on all this MKUltra shit, bro. Here, so switch. Gage sits there. You sit on the big chair, Laymana. Bro, but man, do you know anything about MKUltra, bro?
Nothing, bro.
You never even heard the word MKUltra? Have you know like the movie American Ultra with Jesse Eisenberg and the fucking sleeper agents, bro?
Never.
Are you've never
heard about that.
You've never heard of any, bro? This is
Yo.
perfect then. Basically, Laymana is just like, you know, if you guys have never seen this is perfect, bro. If you guys have never heard about this is perfect because he's never heard about this shit either, bro. But I bet.
Damn, nigga.
Okay,
That
you gotta
shit
like.
look like a whole little gun safe or something.
Yo, bro, it's the fucking dabber, bro.
Double Gage, just say what the fuck you were saying, bro.
Yeah.
Could just get it. Just
say what the fuck you're
I said just get Laymana, just because I want to get Laymana on the same page because this shit was flowing, bro.
Right. So.
Okay.
Back up a little, just for your sake.
Yeah.
So the highlights. MKUltra started. Its predecessor started around the 1950s. It was essentially a brainwashing and drug testing on like regular American people.
Like the government did this. Like they
Right.
literally brainwashed people and tried to turn them into sleeper
Bro, it's
agents.
like Avatar, bro, where they go to Lake Hospital or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Everything from prisoners to college students to psychiatric patients. They tested drugs on everyone. So.
Or here, Laymana. You probably sit right here, honestly, just so they can hear you. And you hold the laptop, bro. But yeah, so now everyone can hear us. All right, pull up, Colin. But yeah, they're literally they're like, this is real. Like, I know this sounds like some crazy sci-fi shit, but the government was brainwashing random people and trying to make them like super soldiers. They would use like, you know, like peyote, like mescaline, the cactus.
Yeah.
They would put them on these drugs like LSD, peyote, all these drugs, and they would try to brainwash them so that they could control them like fucking zombie robots. This is real, bro. This is documented and this happened.
And just the shit we know.
And that shit works.
Tons of shit was destroyed.
Well, that's what we're getting into. And this is just the shit we know.
So, of what we know, in MKUltra under Project Artichoke, there were 149 sub-projects. All of them different topics, different ideas, different experiments.
Right. Under Project Artichoke, which was MKUltra.
Right. It was the predecessor to MKUltra, which eventually became MKUltra. So, one of those subjects was, of course, mind control drugs.
Mm-hmm.
Another large one was building front hospitals. Literally hospitals that only did their experiments. So they literally paid for
mental
It's
hospitals
like
or like
Nazi
anything.
shit.
Anything.
Okay.
From mental hospitals to regular hospitals.
Right.
Psychiatric evaluation.
just to do the tests on these people.
Exactly. And they paid for these hospitals. They built these hospitals. And they used these hospitals. And they paid these doctors. And these doctors got all this funding. And they just said, yeah, whatever you say.
But yeah, we'll just do whatever you want, bro.
Oh, shit, we got the whole screen on the TV, bro.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's nice.
So in 1964...
Bro, that's you when you get older, bro.
It was renamed MKSearch.
It was named what?
MKSearch.
MKSearch. Okay.
Right. And like we mentioned,
Hell yeah.
in 1972,
I never hit that shit before, though.
they had the extensive
I hate it.
destruction of files ordered by Richard Helms. That was
Okay.
1972.
Right. Destruction of all the records.
All the records
again
involved.
Is this again, or is this the same?
No. This is the one that I mentioned.
Okay,
That's just in 1972 is when
all
it
right.
happened. Which, like for reference of these dates, 1964, the year MKSearch or MKUltra was renamed MKSearch, is the year after, immediately after Kennedy was assassinated. It was renamed, which I think is interesting timing.
Right. Yeah.
And in 1972, it was known. I don't believe it was that year. I think it was 1975. That was a period that became known as the Years of Intelligence.
Okay.
Which was a very large.
Is that when NSA started, or is that later?
I think they were around at this time. I
Okay.
think they were all.
Edward Snowden. I'm just talking about like Edward Snowden shit, right?
But the Year of Intelligence was not what it sounds like.
Okay.
It sounds like, a good year for intelligence. It was
the Enlightenment.
It was actually the worst period for the intelligence community ever.
Okay. It's an oxymoron.
Right. It was the year that that Congress essentially started investigating all the things that they were doing. Started saying, okay, where's the transparency? Where's the funding? We're giving you this funding.
We've been giving you all this money, and you're not telling us anything.
And so that's how MKUltra came to light. Was through this.
That's how we got the documents.
Right. And it was only after they destroyed all these things,
Yeah.
So
we get just the Yeah,
right.
we keep repeating this, but literally, they
and
destroyed.
Most of the stuff we know comes from the people who were involved that didn't know that they were involved. These are regular doctors that were getting paid by a hospital.
Yeah.
So they were following the hospital.
It was like piece by piece by piece connected.
Right. And they realized later what they were doing, and they came out and they said, I was part of that program, and I had no idea. I was being paid by the CIA to test on these people, and I thought that was just the experiments the hospital was doing. Multiple doctors have come forward and said, I was part of this experiment without having known.
I was just doing what I was.
Hospital had no idea.
I was just doing what I was told, and then it turns out it's all fucking connected to this shit, bro.
Right. Between 1960 and 1963, they achieved rapid hypnosis and lasting amnesia. They found workable post-hypnotic suggestions and figured out simple clues, including firing a gun on cue.
What would be the key, just cue,
Just whatever it was.
Okay.
Like somebody says a word, you fire, or, you see someone and you think something.
Okay.
Which is an interesting...
Like how they're programmed, if you see John F. Kennedy, shoot his ass.
Which is actually interesting later with Sirhan, because that's almost exactly what happens in his case. He even describes it later, that in his head, when he saw him, he just had an instant thought to kill.
Okay.
For no reason. He had no hatred against the guy. Yeah. He liked the Kennedys, and he just thought, kill.
Right.
So, most of the more graphic experiments were done in Montreal for, ease of...
graphic as in...
As in the more, for lack of a better word, violent ones.
Do you have an example?
The more torturous electroshock.
Okay.
The more, things that you would consider torture.
Yeah, what they couldn't get away with fully in America.
Well, they probably would have.
Well, yeah, they could have hidden it.
Quote, gotten away with it.
Right.
But for an extra added layer of protection, they decided to take it out of country.
Different country. Yeah. Okay.
And only just outside of country too. So right over the border, fucking everyone that was involved.
Right.
Yeah. So these people were under a term that experts call hypnoprogramming, right? Mm-hmm. Or hypnoprogrammed Falcon, like I said. And the hypnoprogramming comes with many symptoms, which are noticeable throughout many people, including mood swings or irritability that is uncharacteristic of that person, time or memory gaps. Multiple of these people were missing for a month to multiple months with no trace of where they were during that time. Whereas the rest of their life can be perfectly traced.
Yeah. How can you forget these 5 years of your life?
Right.
So they're just
not
gone.
Even that. Not even that. It's like, okay, so you remember all of these years except for August You have no idea where you were in August.
Right.
And that's exactly what it was. It's like these people just disappeared.
And in August is when this should happen.
Right, exactly. We'll have a similar incident to that.
Yeah.
So, involved, we're going to go over some of the doctors involved, like I said. Dr. Ewan Cameron, he tested on largely schizophrenic patients, like I said. He forced them to lie in red light for 8 hours while naked.
Red light.
As in just a room tied to a bed with red light, and that's all you're doing.
Jesus Christ, bro. That's like some Clockwork Orange shit, bro.
Exactly. That is exactly.
You ever seen Clockwork Orange, Lemona? Yeah, they get the hooks in his eyes and they force him to watch this movie. It's like, it's like indenting this shit into your head to give you PTSD, bro.
Some crazy shit.
For real.
So he was kind of he got some repercussions for overutilizing coma therapy, which involved intentionally putting people into a coma for extended periods of time for really no reason.
And what did you do? You could do that with like anesthesia?
Right.
Okay, right.
They have all kinds of methods nowadays, but essentially just putting him into a coma for no real reason.
Right.
And through that, he learned how to de-pattern someone, which essentially stripped them of themselves.
What's that? It's like the psychological thing. What is that thing from psychology class? Like you're like off every time the dog hears the sound, it'll eat the food, right?
Oh,
Yeah, Pavlov, bro. It was like Pavlov in his what is that called though? What's the term, bro?
It's the bell or something.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah,
like,
I know what you're saying.
Okay.
Nowadays, most people just say Pavlov.
Right.
Oh yeah. The dogs will salivate when they hear the bell. It's because they're used to getting snacks.
There's like a. What is it called though?
It's called the Pavlov, bro.
No, it's like
Pavlov dog theory.
No, there's a whole fucking. Unconditioned stimulus and shit. Like conditioned to be conditioned. Yeah, because they were so like you're saying with this, they're conditioned.
Programmed.
Yeah, programmed. Exactly, bro. Same shit. They Pavlov these MKUltra dudes. Oh God, this shit hit.
So they developed a technique called psychic driving, which I, at the moment, forget why it was called that.
Psychic driving.
But it involved hundreds of hours of tape played in the ears in a sensory deprivation tank or room.
Oh my God,
that's like
bro!
Some Stranger Things shit.
For real.
Holy shit.
They got you fucking floating in this fucking saltwater dome, just listening to this shit on repeat, bro.
Hundreds of hours, bro.
Holy fuck.
Imagine that. That's
bro.
months.
That and then like if you're oh my God, bro, you're already tripping out in this sensory.
Exactly.
Oh my.
You're drugged while you're doing that.
And
too.
you're on. Imagine you're tripping on LSD, put in a sensory deprivation tank, and then they're repeating this
Probably
propaganda.
not even just LSD. You know, that without a
terrifying.
doubt they were mixing those drugs.
Yeah.
Like, okay, what does this and this do?
Yeah, let's see what these combinations can get
Exactly,
us.
because that's what they often mention. They don't specify the combinations, but they say a combination of various methods achieves
Holy
such
fuck.
and such.
They would have these. Oh my God. Okay.
So they developed brainwashing, or Dr. Cameron, he developed brainwashing techniques using drug disinhibition, prolonged sleep treatment, prolonged psychological isolation, and proved to produce amnesia.
Prolonged sleep treatment would like put him in a coma for a while, or what is that?
I believe that involves both prolonged sleep and lack of sleep.
Okay, sleep deprivation,
right? Exactly.
Right.
So making somebody be in a coma for a while, and then making them not sleep for a long period of time, and then doing
fucking their shit up, bro.
Just fucking their brain. Then we go on to Dr. Estabrooks, or G.H. Estabrooks. He publicly acknowledged creating Manchurian candidates.
Okay, and who is this? Here, could you look this shit up, Laymana? Estabrooks?
Dr. Estabrooks.
Yeah, bro, let's look this shit up, because he admitted to all this shit.
And I think that's actually something I forgot to bring up.
Bro, was Canadian-American psychologist and an authority on hypnosis during World War II.
Exactly.
What the fuck?
So, and that's what's crazy, is that the CIA recruited these people for hypnosis.
And they're using the psychology. Holy fuck.
There's another guy, Dr. Brian. He bragged about to multiple people about hypnotizing Sirhan before the assassination. Bragged.
Damn.
He was very egotistical.
Right.
And they say that was his.
Oh yeah, look what I can do.
Right. So I forgot to mention one of the sub projects of MKUltra was deliberately creating multiple personalities in children. Because they thought, okay, what if another personality could be a sleeper agent?
Could they even do that?
Split personality?
Yeah, they were making...
They were intentionally traumatizing kids.
Yeah.
To create another personality and seeing if they could train that personality to be a hitman.
Holy fuck, bro. What the fuck?
I don't believe that proved reliable. I think they just ended up traumatizing a fuckload of kids.
Yeah, like we just fucked up all these kids' brain for no reason.
So, yeah.
Holy shit,
Estabrooks. Yeah. He, and that ties back to Estabrooks. He was the one that created multiple personalities with the aid of hypnotism.
Okay. He actually successfully did it?
Right, and goes on. He had a quote, I forget where it was from, but he said, "This is not sci-fi. This has been done. I have done it."
Damn, bro.
He proposed it could be used to deliver messages without the subjects remembering the messages.
Okay.
So if you had some classified information, and I said, I need you to deliver this classified information, but you're not, classified enough, or what's the word, cleared for the information, hypnotize you, tell you it, deliver you, he hypnotizes you, and you deliver the message.
Holy fuck.
He knows the code
and they
word.
really did that?
They really did that.
That's insane, bro. How the fuck did they do that to people, bro?
Holy
fuck.
That's fucking insane.
They created conscious communists and unconscious loyal Americans. So that, outwardly, you'd be a proud communist. Okay. But in your deep actions and your deep sympathies, you're an American.
Right.
And you don't even know it. Because everything
that's
you
like
say...
what's happening today, bro.
Everything you
that's
say
like
is pro-communism.
Bro. Holy shit,
bro. That's like socialism today, bro.
They literally just programming people, bro.
That reminds me of something I didn't even bring up. Actually, I might have said this. So, they figured out that a person's reluctance to commit a crime can be overridden if conditioned to believe the act is of high moral purpose.
So they believe that it's a good choice.
They believe it's a good cause.
Right.
I think that is, today, used in the intelligence community to train new recruits to regularly spy on people, kill people, subvert America,
like, this is
because
for the greater
it's for
good.
America.
Yeah, like, this is for the greater good.
Think about Snowden.
Holy.
That is exactly the case. Snowden realized that wasn't right.
Right.
He realized that was illegal, not supposed to be done.
Spying on everyone, bro.
And too many people were trained to believe that it's for a higher purpose. It's a high cause. Yeah. We're protecting America by spying on people. Exactly.
Nationalism, bro.
Exactly. So I think that's regularly used. Probably not even just in the CIA. FBI, NSA, all of them.
Divide and conquer, bro.
Exactly. So Dr. Wolf, I mentioned earlier, and the Human Ecology Foundation. Have a look that one up. Interested in that one.
What is it called?
The Human Ecology Foundation.
Human Ecology. Some crazy shit, bro. Tripping me out.
Yeah, that one.
Hop on their Facebook.
CIA-funded operation through Cornell University of Human Ecology Society.
For the investigation.
To support covert research on brainwashing.
What?
Holy shit.
It was also connected to research in the area.
Anthropology.
And it says MKUltra connection right down there. Louis Joylon West was among many who received funds from the CIA through this fund. He did psychiatry residency at Cornell University at MKUltra Institution and site of the Human Ecology Fund. He was later contracted by the CIA, and the proposal submitted by West was titled, you'll go back up, was titled Psychophysiological Studies of Hypnosis and Suggestibility, with an accompanying document titled Studies of Dissociative States. What the fuck?
Holy shit.
What the fuck?
See,
oh
so
my god.
The notion that hypnosis is just, this crazy kook thing, I'm, more and more starting to believe that was created by the CIA to dispel this.
Yeah.
Because they use hypnosis, no doubt.
This is crazy, bro.
Imagine the shit.
And it's the same shit that's going on now with social media, bro.
What the fuck?
Like right now, it's just smarter, bro. But dude, it's the same shit. We still get hypnotized.
Oh my how China does fucking TikTok, right? Instead, it's fucking like they do like promote propaganda to be like fucking when they scroll on TikTok, it's like to be an engineer and shit. Yeah. It's not these stupid TikTok dances. And they have fucking hours that you can hop on. It's from like 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. and you can only do it for 40 minutes a day.
Influence through them.
Yeah, so they're creating these fucking like mastermind children in fucking China, and they're dumbing down Americans right now.
Holy fuck.
It's that Chinese spyware shit.
And you know how Elon revealed, Twitter has a fuck ton of bots, more than they admit. I can't remember how many he said, but or if he even said it. But they have a fuck ton of bots. And what he revealed is that the bots were being used by, foreign states to political states to whatever groups to promote ideas that have no following. And they were creating this base with these bots, and they were essentially shifting the support in, these groups.
Not right now.
And so they're shifting these supports, and foreign states, like Russia, China, they're using them in the ways you'd expect, elections, whatever. They're or pro things they want to happen in America or not, or whatever they want to do.
Holy shit, though. That was going deep as fuck, bro.
Well, because they're shifting the support in ways that can shift entire cultures, essentially. And China has long-term plans for that, which is exactly what they're using stuff like TikTok for. They have plans that say no matter how long it takes, we will get this done. Don't care what it takes. They use that to transform industries. They take over industries. They find key points that other people aren't invested in. And they say, okay, the transportation in this industry is, totally scattered. We'll become the main person and totally dominate transportation. Or semiconductor creation. Or refinery. They dominate certain sectors to corner industries. And use bots to support it.
Oh, I feel that.
Back to Estabrook's transfer. He, like I said, the hypnotic courier, the messenger, he created those. Locked message in hypnotrance. Dr.